Good evening, everyone. I'd like to welcome you to this regularly scheduled City Council meeting. It is Tuesday, March 4th, 2025, and I would like to call this meeting to order. We are going to rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, and then we're going to stay standing for one moment as we have Bobby from the Church of Clawson who's going to give us our words of encouragement this evening.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Bobby, if you wouldn't come mind.
All right, I'm just going to pray and ask God to bless this meeting. Lord, we thank you that we can just come here tonight, and we pray that you would just continue to just watch over the city of Clawson. God, I pray that you would just give wisdom to all the officials and city servants, and just give them wisdom to make the right decisions that would be honoring and glorifying to you, that would in turn just bless the residents and the businesses of Clawson. I pray for this meeting and all the proceedings that follow. In Jesus' name, amen.
Thank you so much for coming here this evening. Michelle, may we have a roll call, please?
Councilmember Anderson.
Here.
Councilmember Binkowski.
Here.
Mayor Milan.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Moffitt.
Present.
Councilmember Shepherd.
Here.
Thank you. We are all accounted for. Would someone like to make a motion to approve our agenda?
Madam Mayor, I move that we approve the agenda for March 4th, 2025 as presented.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
Support.
Thank you. Roll call, please, Michelle.
Councilmember Anderson.
Yes.
Councilmember Binkowski.
Yes.
Mayor Milan.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Moffitt.
Yes.
Councilmember Shepherd.
Yes.
Thank you. We've approved our agenda, and we will move to public comment for items on the agenda. If you're here this evening and would like to speak to any item that we have on our agenda, we welcome you to the platform, and we will give you 3 minutes to speak. And not seeing anyone come forward, we will close public comment and move on to proclamations and presentations, which we have none this evening. So we will move right along to item number 8, which is consideration of approving the following consent agenda. Did I skip something? No, I heard noise. I was like, I skipped something again, but I didn't. Thank you. Consideration of approving the following consent agenda, which item A would be minutes of the regular city council meeting held on Tuesday, February 18th, 2025. And item B would be the list of bills in amount of $978,346.92.
So moved.
Support.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Binkowski.
Yes.
Mayor Milan.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Moffitt.
Yes.
Councilmember Shepherd.
Yes.
Councilmember Anderson.
Yes.
Thank you. We've approved our consent agenda, and we'll move on to item 9A. Under 9A, we have consideration of authorizing the distribution of the master plan update in accordance with the Michigan Planning Enabling Act.
Madam Mayor, I move the master plan update be authorized for distribution in accordance with the Michigan Planning Enabling Act.
Support.
Nick?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. During the February 11th, 2025 Planning Commission meeting, the Commission voted to forward the draft master plan update to the City Council for distribution to neighboring communities and interested agencies, and that a public hearing be set for the next available Planning Commission meeting after the statutory review period elapses. Per the Michigan Planning Enabling Act, the statutory review period is 63 days to submit any comments regarding the master plan update. Once the 63 days has passed, the Planning Commission will then conduct a public hearing on the proposed master plan. During this meeting, staff presented a brief recommendation to include the following language: consider ways to limit building and paving footprints, such as allowing ground level parking under inhabited stories where land is saved for permeable services. This language would allow the city to pursue innovative language to address parking. When recommended, the Planning Commission was interested in discussing this concept further, but we're not comfortable including this at this point in the process. During the public hearing period, minor changes can be made to the draft master plan, which this would be. Therefore, there is an opportunity to explore this further before the master plan is approved and adopted.
Thank you. Does anyone have any questions regarding this?
Yeah, I would, Madam Mayor. So I appreciate that the information regarding ground level parking was presented. I also appreciate the Planning Commission's not reluctancy, but hesitancy in order to take it up at that point in time. I do think it's important to have the conversation, put some more meat on the bone for that, and I would like to have that be part of their review process, in the hearing process, to kind of flesh that out some more.
Yeah, that is something we can explore over the public hearing period, and if we come to a consensus on language, can include that into the master plan update. So substantive changes cannot be made, so if you rewrote an entire chapter, you'd have to go and do the public hearing, but if there's minor additions, bullet points like this, that does not require any additional public comment.
So in incorporating this, how do you envision it being as a minor revision?
So it could be included in one of our chapters that we have. So parking could be somewhere. There's a few different areas where it could fit in, potentially an implementation item. It's kind of based on, we have this concept presented to the Planning Commission, where do they see fit on where it fits best in the master plan.
Can it also try to tie into our sustainability goals and objectives?
I think if the concept is to save permeable surface, it can definitely tie into that chapter and others, yeah.
Okay. I guess my opinion on this, and strictly it's mine, is that, by trying to provide additional creative ways that people can develop their properties without creating more impermeable surface, and then, perhaps at least get that conversation going. I don't know what someone will be coming here with. I'm not going to be providing their details and design plan, but at least it gives them a little bit more opportunity to start to think about something, rather than not having anything and then somebody come in with a PUD and say, well, this is what we want to do, but gee, how do we have any framework in which to work in that regard?
Sir?
Would it be appropriate then for the council to make a motion to say that we would like this included in some fashion? Or if it's just simply one council member's suggestion, how do we know it would see the light of day?
So during the meeting, the Planning Commission, they were interested in pursuing that language, just didn't want to include it outright at that time before it came to you, so we can still move forward with distributing the master plan, not delay anything else. I don't know if a motion is necessary. I mean, if there's some level of consent, maybe it would help the Planning Commission have some more ground to move on it sooner. So I'd
Support, if that's a motion, I would definitely support it.
So I guess it would be a separate motion
Correct.
than an addendum to this.
Yeah,
Right.
we would want the two separate,
Okay.
if there was a second.
Well, I guess I would like to make that as a motion, that they consider that and include the discussion regarding first floor ground parking.
So
Support.
I do think that there's one motion on the table currently. You have to vote on that before a second motion can be.
Okay, then let's have the motion on the first,
Okay.
let's have the vote on the first motion, which doesn't make sense because we're adding something into it. It seems like it should be the opposite.
Well, that's what point, it's like, I didn't want to.
Maybe you can make an amendment.
That's what I was saying, so, that's, if I'd rather make it as an amendment to the motion that was on the table.
And then we'll vote on the amendment first.
I'll support the amendment.
Perfect.
Before you take the vote, could you read exactly what we're voting on then with all the?
So, my suggestion, right, the way my
I'm gonna
motion
say,
is, go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead and restate it.
I would like the planning commission to begin the discussion with additional detail on a framework for having first floor ground parking.
So for clarity, we're voting on whether or not we want to mandate that the planning commission have that discussion. So it's not adding anything, it's just like it has to be on the agenda next time. That's all we're voting on?
Yeah, whether they adopt it or not, at this point, we can't have that.
So it's just like
So-
they have to discuss it
Yep.
next? Okay, cool.
Correct. And it will,
Have it be part of a future plan, but we need to have some other idea where they want to go with it.
yeah, and I can state it won't be a discussion item for the next planning commission agenda. The Giffords-Webster needs more time to flesh out how it would actually look, so it may not be in March, but it'll be something that we have that discussion during the public hearing period.
Prior to the 63-day
Yes,
thing? Yeah,
yes.
Gotcha.
Just want to make that clear that if you're expecting to see it on the next agenda, I don't want to make any false promises.
No, that's fine. Yeah, again, just having the conversation when that takes place, because I would much rather have it be well thought out for them.
Correct.
Rather than, again, saying it, bringing it to us at 11th hour again, right? So,
Exactly.
Okay. And roll call, please, Michelle?
Mayor Pro Tem Moffett,
Yes.
Councilmember Shepherd,
yes.
Councilmember Anderson,
Yes.
Councilmember Binkowski,
Yes.
and Mayor Milan.
Yes. Okay, so then we have one more.
That's the
So that
amendment.
was for.
That was the amendment.
The amendment.
Now we're on the
Okay.
original motion.
Now we go to the original.
Mayor Milan,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Moffett,
Yes.
Councilmember Shepherd,
Yes.
Councilmember Anderson,
Yes.
Councilmember Binkowski.
Yes.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
Thanks. So we will move that master plan update for distribution, and we made that adjustment to send that language for consideration back to the planning commission. Moving to agenda item 9B, we have consideration of the first reading of ordinance number 787 to amend Clawson Code of Ordinances, Chapter 2, Administration, Article 5, Finance, to add Division 3 contracts.
Madam Mayor, I move the first reading of ordinance number 787 to amend the Clawson Code of Ordinances, Chapter 2, Administration, Article 5, Finance, to add Division 3 contracts be approved.
Support.
Thank you. Mr. Aker.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Per the new charter, Chapter 14.01, the city council shall establish by ordinance the procedures for purchasing or contracting for supplies, materials, equipment, and service. This item was before you on January 7th and was not supported by council due to the removal of the waiver of competitive bidding requirement, of which would have required 4 members of council to vote in the affirmative. That component has been included in this version and was discussed at the ordinance committee meeting on January 21st. The first reading was approved at the city council meeting on February 4th. The second reading and adoption failed at the last city council meeting of February 18th. This amended ordinance is being considered for first reading, and it does have the 75% provision. That was a sticking point for some council members before.
Do you have any questions?
I have a question for Mr. Nushai. So 75% doesn't come out to a whole number. So how is that handled? Do we need to specify, round it up to the nearest, next highest whole number with the 75%? Or how do we, like, it comes out 0.5 and depending on the construction, like, how do we make sure, you know what I'm asking, I'll shut up.
Yeah, no, you're fine. That was obviously the consideration, the number that came out of the Ordinance Review Committee. It is not a whole number. It does not require. What it means is if it goes over that specific number, if it's 4.01, that means 5 members. Right?
So
the fraction means the whole.
the
of
interpretation is that it rounds up to the next highest whole number, period, because we don't have a fraction of a person.
Correct.
And we don't need to specify
No,
that.
it goes by, if I recall, and you'll forgive me, I don't have the site on top of my head or anything like that, but it goes by Robert's Rules of Order. There's somewhere in there in the book, it talks about this particular.
Cool, all right, good, all right, thank you.
Mr. Wojciechowski.
I'll be opposing this in this form because what it does is this new language tends to blur the lines between a sealed bid and a quote. The new section 2240 talks about such contract shall be awarded to the lowest responsible bid or quote. Elsewhere in the proposed ordinance, it calls a request for quote means an informal solicitation, a request for information where all our written quotes are obtained from vendors without formal advertising or receipt of sealed bids. So what this would do is allow no sealed bids to ever happen based on the prerogative of the city manager. Now, this is a lot different than our current language. Our current language says that we must have a sealed bid and an opening process, and I think that's the way we should do it. It avoids a lot of, say, chicanery and perhaps unsavory situations. So I'll be voting against this contracts ordinance in this form.
Anyone else? Roll call, please. Michelle?
Councilmember Shepherd?
Yes.
Councilmember Anderson?
Yes.
Councilmember Binkowski?
No.
Mayor Milan?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Moffett?
Yes.
Thank you. We've just approved the first reading of ordinance number 787 to amend the Clausen Code of Ordinances number 2, Administration, Article 5, Finance, to add Division 3 contracts, and we will bring that back before us for a second reading in the near future. Item number 9C, we have consideration to reschedule the regular city council meeting of Tuesday, May 6th, 2025 to Wednesday, May 7th, 2025.
So move.
Support.
Mr. Raker?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. City Council approved a special election to be held Tuesday, May 6, 2025. City staff, assets, and facilities will be used for this effort, which has now created a scheduling conflict with the previously scheduled regular City Council meeting for that evening. A May election does not generate the demand on staff that a general presidential election does. Therefore, in consultation with staff, the administration recommends the first regular City Council meeting in May be rescheduled to Wednesday, May 7, 2025 at 7:30 p.m. in the City Council chambers.
Thank you. Any questions or concerns regarding this? Roll call, please, Michelle.
Councilmember Anderson?
Yes.
Councilmember Binkowski?
No.
Mayor Milan?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Moffett?
Yes.
Councilmember Shepherd?
Yes.
Thank you. We've just agreed to move our Tuesday, May 6th, 2025 meeting to Wednesday, May 7th, 2025. Next agenda item is 9D. We have consideration to schedule a special meeting for the purpose of budget discussions between the city council, city administration, and department heads.
Madam Mayor, I move that a special meeting for Tuesday, March 25th, 2025 at 7 p.m. in the City Hall Community Room for the purposes of budget discussions between city council, city administration, and department heads be approved.
Support.
Seeing no hands, roll call, please, Michelle.
Councilmember Binkowski?
Yes.
Mayor Milan?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Moffett?
Yes.
Councilmember Shepherd?
Yes.
Councilmember Anderson?
Yes.
Thank you. We will be holding a special meeting on Tuesday, March 25th at 7 p.m. in the City Hall Community Room for purposes of budget discussions between City Council, administration, and department heads. We'd love to see you. Next up, we have item 9E. 9E is consideration of a reappointment of Dana Traxel to the Board of Ethics for a term to expire September 15th, 2027.
Madam Mayor, I move that we continue the consideration of appointment of Dana Traxel to the Board of Ethics, term to expire September 15th, 2027.
I'll support that. Any comments?
I have a question. How many seats do we have open on the Ethics Board? Because we have a couple people here to consider. How many positions are open?
We have Dana Traxel is submitted an application for reappointment. She's on. And then we have two others that have expired, and we have applicants for them today. We do not have more applicants than we have seats available.
Oh, so there are three total
Three
seats.
expired terms currently.
Oh, okay, cool.
I
Mr. Binkowski.
respectfully suggest that can't be true because when they set up the Board of Ethics, it was staggered. The first two people got 3-year terms, 2 people got 2-year terms, and 1 person got a 1-year term. And here we are trying to appoint 3 people for 3-year terms immediately, so there's got to be something wrong. And, yeah.
This fell in line with the timing that you had on the list, so I'm going to say that it's good, based on that. When their applications expired, I'm not sure. I don't have that before me. But these applications are applicants that you've all received that came into City Hall that we just acted upon because we had them.
I think 2 of them expire into September of 27, 1 in October of 28. So I imagine they're straddling 2 different groups, I imagine. Am I correct, Madam Clerk?
Well, according to what I had here before me, and I know that there was a change because Bonnie Swope was originally appointed, and I believe Mr. Laurent Nushai was put into her vacated seat, was the first one. So the way I see it here is that we have 2 that were appointed in 2020, according to this list here. Dana Traxel was appointed in 2021, and the other two were appointed in October of 2021. One was April of 2021. So based on the terms of office and the next term, I mean, I went back as far as Bonnie, so I'm not sure what.
Is it possible to go back and look again? Because like I said, and this council talked about this a year and a half ago when they reappointed Mr. Nushai. There were 2 seats, when the ethics committee was set up, 2 seats were for 3 years, 2 seats were for 2 years, and 1 seat was for 1 year. And then after those seats expired, then everybody would be reappointed for 3 years. So that would prevent what's going on now, where you're trying to put in 3 new people at one time onto the board.
But one's a renewal, no one's trying to do anything. It was just, they're all expired seats.
But they're not.
But
There
they
must be
are.
an error.
Isn't it on the website? They're like.
The
it
website's
lists
incorrect.
Oh, is it? Because I know at one time it listed everybody and when their term expired, but that's not updated.
We've also had several people sit in and move in and out of those seats, or a couple of people move in and out of those seats, which shouldn't affect the date of the term, but perhaps did. Michelle, could it have?
I'm without having all my packet with me. My thought is that we have had some change in the seats, so I'm not, without going back and looking at who dropped off and who was reappointed. I spent a lot of time in going back through the minutes. I was not the clerk at the time, but I tried to go back through the minutes and find out when the appointments happened and the expirations. So I had looked at these 3, and I thought that they followed the suit of what was appointed, so.
Well, I respectfully suggest that, and ask that you go back and take another look again, because it can't be possible for this result to be happening.
Madam Mayor, if it's a pleasure of the board, we can bring these back if you'd like.
So can I, if we were to go ahead and vote these seats in, and then you determined that there weren't vacancies, I guess that's the issue. I mean, I could see reappointing Mrs. Traxel because she's just a reappointment. But the 2 new seats could be tenuous, right? Because if there's not those actual openings, then how do we pick who gets to stay and who doesn't? So maybe for consideration, we do Mrs. Traxel and then take a pause on the other 2 so that we can confirm that those vacancies actually exist.
Is there one that we're looking at in particular right now? Someone's appointed, because I have looked at Laurent Nushai's. I researched that back because he was one that filled a vacancy back in 20. And this council did, at some point, was given some information back in, what was it, 21, I'm looking for the minutes, 23.
Yep.
There was a legal opinion issued because Laurent Nushai was placed on for reappointment, and he was not expired yet. So you might remember that. I researched that back and found the legal opinion to say that reappointment didn't take place because he was still in a term that was not expired. So if that's what we're referring to, I did research that back. I'll be happy to look at the dates and go back further. But I looked up this one in particular because of it was brought to our attention that he was reappointed. And I do remember that, but I do remember that it was retracted because the term was not expired yet.
How long of a period do you have to wait before you reappoint someone? Because I don't remember that. I remember.
Well, it was in 23 that there was a reappointment of to extend that term. So basically, what happened was when it was noticed that his term was not expired yet, then basically he was still in the seat until his expiration.
So how far in advance may someone submit a reappointment request? How early can you reappoint someone?
You mean?
Just asking for clarity, like, can you do it 2 months in advance? Can you do it, does it have to be a week in advance?
I don't
Do
think
you
that-
want it
I don't
it
think
waited
there's
until
not
it
a set timeline. I think there's
expires?
Precedence for that.
Well, no, but that's what it sounds like she's saying. That's what I'm trying to get clarification from. So you're saying that he was reappointed, but shouldn't have been reappointed because the seat wasn't,
His seat was not vacant yet, so he was still on the board. So nothing changed with his appointment. It was just a clerical error to the boards and commission list, was to track it back through the minutes, and that's when we found out that it was not. So I think he was being reappointed to another 3-year term, but his term was not up yet. So that's why it was just, he stayed in his term until it expired, which is September 24 is what I have.
and the same with the other
So
one,
I can't speak
September
for
24.
Mr. McGinnis. He's the other one that's up. I think I'd have to look him back and see if there was something with that one, but I was going off the dates I found.
I think the point is we're trying to appoint people to 3-year terms, 3 people, when we should only be appointing 2 people to those 3-year terms expiring September 15th. And that's how the ethics board was set up, so let's follow the rules.
I thought it's, sorry to interrupt, but I thought it's staggered in the beginning and then went to 3-year terms after that.
Yeah.
It did, right.
Okay.
So
So they caught up.
So, it started in what, 18?
I'm looking at the minutes currently for, this was back when it first started in 2020. That's when the first tier was made, in 2020, September.
So 24 kind of makes sense. It's 6 years, and it was staggered to be, so,
what I'm saying is one of these 3 appointments has to be for a different date, or else it doesn't make sense, and it is contrary to the
Upon
to the
further review,
ordinance.
Councilman, because you are correct, they're all expiring the same date. There's 3 of them. Question becomes, the seat itself doesn't change, right? The people may come and go, the seat doesn't change, am I correct?
Give me, Councilmember Anderson, you're looking at me. I'm recusing myself on the issue based on my family member being one of them. But I see the city manager is raising his hand. That's perhaps.
So in an effort to get to resolution, I think the administration needs to come back and provide an explanation so that we are clarifying these questions. I think it's safe to move forward with the reappointment of Dana Traxel, but the other 2, if we could please just pull them from the agenda, we'll bring them back to the next meeting with clarification.
Well, there wasn't a support for the Traxel
Yeah, there was.
There
nomination.
actually was, if you were listening. I know
Goes
you
on
didn't
the
want there
table.
to be, but there was. So let's vote on Dana Traxel. We're good with that. We've already made the motion in the second. We'll vote on Dana Traxel and then discuss the other moving forward.
I'll just, as an aside, I'll be voting no, just
Of
because
course.
I'd rather have this all sorted out before we start voting on replacing and reappointing people.
Good to know. Thank you, Michelle.
Mayor Milan,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Moffett,
yes.
Councilmember Shepherd. No. Councilmember Anderson,
Yes.
Councilmember Binkowski.
No.
Okay, thank you for supporting that. Those of you who supported, Dana Traxel, thank you so much for your service on the Ethics Board. One of our most interesting boards. I'm sure you've had a lot of fun. We're thankful that you're willing to do it again, and we appreciate your willingness to move forward. So regarding the next 2 appointments,
I'll make a motion that item number 9F and 9G be removed from the agenda at this time and have them placed on a future agenda where we can have clarity on the expiration dates.
Support.
roll call, please, Michelle.
Mayor Pro Tem Moffett,
Yes.
Councilmember Shepherd,
Yes.
Councilmember Anderson,
Yes.
Councilmember Binkowski,
Yes.
Mayor Milan.
Yes. Okay, thank you. And to Brian Murphy and Erica Clute-Cuban, thank you so much for your willingness to serve on this ethics board, and we will revisit this in the future. Sorry about the confusion, perhaps on our side. Moving to item 9H, we have consideration of reappointment of Charles Sampson to the Downtown Development Authority for a term which expires October 31st, 2028.
Madam Mayor, I move the reappointment of Charles Sampson to the Downtown Development Authority to the expired term of October 31st, 2024, to expire October 31st, 2028, be approved.
Support.
Yes, sir.
No chance to reappoint Mary Liz Curtin at this time?
I didn't see her name on our agenda.
Because you did not place her name on the agenda, correct?
I don't believe I have to answer to you. Does anyone else have any comments about Mr. Sampson? Or shall we move to a vote? Roll call, please, Michelle.
Councilmember Shepherd?
Yes.
Councilmember Anderson?
Yes.
Councilmember Binkowski?
Yes.
Mayor Milan?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Moffett?
Yes.
We've just approved Charles Sampson to serve on our Downtown Development Authority for a term to expire October 31st, 2028. And just for note, Charlie is a wonderful addition to the DDAs. He's great. So thank you, Charlie, for your service. Moving to agenda item 9I, we have consideration of receiving and filing the minutes resolution of the Election Commission to reorganize the temporary relocation of voting precincts 1, 4, and 5 to establish an absentee ballot counting board.
So moved.
Support.
Michelle.
So this temporary location change, again, has to do with the school's availability. Obviously, they're in school for the May election, was not a planned date because of the special election. We were able to work out the details and move a couple of the precincts there. Kenwood School is still not open. They're under construction, and the media center at the high school is going to be starting construction. So we decided to just, because of it being a special election, a smaller election, is to go ahead and combine two of the precincts to one location. Still keep the locations separate. There'll be two voting places, and so we're going to use Baker Administration Building because we can use the gym. We'll split it into the two precincts. We'll move one there. So Precinct 1 will move to Baker. So we'll have Baker, Precinct 3 and 1 in one location, and then we'll move the high school to Grace Apostolic Church along with Precinct 5. And Precinct 5, as you know, is the Shawm relocation. So until we redraw the lines, right now we're going to call it a temporary location, but we're hoping to be able to resolve that before the November election, get the precincts, set and redrawn. So the Election Commission met and approved the move of these precincts and to go ahead and do the absentee counting board, as we do here for the mini absentee counting board for those ballots received after 4 o'clock on Monday.
And so will you be sending out postcards specifically to everyone in these precincts, letting them know of the change?
Yes, we will. Cool. They'll all be notified.
Can you remind me where precincts 2 and 3 are at?
Precinct 2 is here at City Hall. 3 is Baker, the Baker Admin Building.
Okay.
And then Kenwood obviously is one, and then Shawm is the one that we're, right now is going to be at Grace. We'll probably continue to host that precinct there.
Thank you, Michelle. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Anderson?
Yes.
Councilmember Binkowski?
Yes.
Mayor Milan?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Moffett?
Yes.
Councilmember Shepherd?
Yes.
Thank you. We've just approved the relocation of voting precincts 1, 4, and 5 for the May 6th special election and have established an absentee counting board. Moving to item number 9J, we have consideration of discussion of fiscal year 2025 and 2026 goals and objectives.
Madam Mayor, I move to continue discussion of the fiscal year 2025-2026 goals and objectives.
Support.
Mr. Raker.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Last year, the City Council and Administration had productive discussions on its mutually agreed upon goals and objectives for the current fiscal year. Late in January, all department heads and myself met to review in preparation for the upcoming fiscal year budget of 2025-26. The product of their review is provided here and was provided in the January 30th this year, the Friday feedback, and was on the February 18th, 2025 agenda for council's consideration. Proposed changes are simply highlighted and crossed out, most due to their completion, combinations, or simple text changes to greater relevance. The intent of this discussion is to solicit comment on these suggestions and seek additional input from council.
Okay. Does anyone have any input? Well, I guess you did a really great job on revising that list.
I
Congratulations.
was pleased with the,
I thought it was rather
I'll
succinct.
clean them up and make the edits, and it'll be on the, closer to the budget for approval.
Okay, thank you. And discussion, we don't need to do anything else with that. We'll move on to item number 10, which is unfinished business. Do we have any unfinished business this evening? We do not. Then we'll move on to public comment for items not on the agenda. If you're here this evening and you'd like to speak to an item that we have not already discussed that was on our agenda, we welcome you to the podium. We ask that you give your name and your address, and we will allot you 3 minutes.
I would like to speak, please. Questions? I'm slow, but I'll get there. I would like to know when we will receive, I'm sorry, I'm Joanne McCauley. I live at 121 Renshaw, apartment 102. First of all, I'd like to thank you guys for speaking into the mic. It was nice tonight. We could hear what you were saying, most of it, but that's great, thank you. I'd like to know when this will be discussed again and when we can bring our comments. I mean, I had a lot of stuff that I would like to discuss on Renshaw Apartments, and I'd like to know when in the future or whenever we can bring these comments up. I have a lot of opinions from other people. If you can help me with that, I would appreciate that. So I sleep at night.
Mrs. McCauley, you may sleep at night. We promise
I
you
may
will
sleep
get
at
to
night.
sleep.
The council will not be voting whether to put Renshaw on the, because Renshaw is definitely an asset with the information I have. But you will not be voting to put it on the November ballot until we have a meeting where we can openly discuss and ask questions. Given? Is that a yes? I know I text you and I know you answer me, but I'd like to be able to quit.
Unfortunately, ma'am, the council is not permitted to be able to answer back and forth.
I understand that, and I do know that, but I thought maybe I'd sneak a little one in there. So I'm going to go home and I'm going to sleep better at night, and we're going to wait for the meeting, and you will definitely let us know, so, because I have a lot to say. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Would anyone else like to speak this evening? Okay, not seeing no one else come forward, we will close public comments for items not on the agenda and move to our city clerk's report. Michelle?
Our absentee ballots should be available by the end of the month. And just as I've already spoke about, the temporary locations cards will be going out to all those affected by that move to let them know. We will be having early voting in Troy as required by Oakland County because we're in contract with them. So they want to stay consistent to have early voting. So there will be early voting the 9 days prior to the election as we have in the past, 3 or 4 elections. So that will continue. And I think that's all I have.
Thank you.
Madam Clerk, do you know what the cost will be for the early voting?
I do not have a set cost. We did have a meeting this week. I was told that just for the 9 days, for staffing would be around $6,000. There's other costs involved, I'm sure, but that was the staffing cost
$6,000 just for the early voting?
for the 9 days, yes.
Okay.
Thank you, Michelle. City Attorney's report, Mr. Newshay?
Just a couple items briefly, Madam Mayor. First, the Ordinance Review Committee met today. It was a good meeting, and I think we'll have a couple items coming forward to the entire body come next meeting. And then secondly, with respect to the old Pizza Hut, that litigation continues. Just wanted to update you briefly to say that we have a bench trial. The matter was scheduled for a bench trial in April, and I'll make sure that I update you at that time. We anticipate a resolution short of that, and hopefully amelioration of the conditions as well. Yes, ma'am.
What's a bench trial?
Oh, I apologize. So everyone has an ability to have a jury trial where a jury of your peers sits in judgment over the particular issue. A bench trial means that you waive the right to have a jury sit in judgment and instead have a judge sit there and make decisions with respect to both the law and the facts of the case.
Cool. Okay, thank you very much. City Manager's report, Mr. Raker.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Sewer cleaning inspection continues as the weather has warmed a bit. Since our last council meeting, our contractor continued to work in the northwest section of the city. As a reminder, we have a sectional map of the city that is updated when necessary and is located on the City of Clawson website under DPW and engineering, and then under cleaning and televising. The map now reflects 2 sections complete with a 3rd section underway. Pending any questions, ma'am, that's my report.
Any questions? Thank you. Mr. Raker, do we have any city council comments this evening?
No.
Okay. Yes?
I see Shar sitting there, and I've been talking to my friends about the Euchre tournament on March 21st, so get your tickets before I buy them all out, so.
Okay, and then now we have a consideration of going into closed session for purposes of receiving attorney-client privilege communication regarding the matter of City of Clawson versus Lindsay Vanis.
Madam Mayor, I move to go into closed session for the purpose of receiving attorney-client privilege communication regarding the matter of City of
I wasn't
Clawson
finished.
v. Lindsay Vanis pursuant to
Point of order, Mr.
MCL
Minkowski. I know you don't hear
15.268,
anyone but your
Section
own
8H of the Open Meetings Act.
Are you finished?
Yeah, I made the motion.
I wasn't finished. And it would be great if you could show a little bit of decorum for someone.
I thought you were done. My
occasionally.
apologies,
You
Madam
didn't think,
Mayor.
because you weren't thinking about anyone except for yourself. So I'm going to finish, and then we can pretend that you didn't just do that.
Madam Mayor, do you mind, can you read what's
Pursuant
sitting right in front of you?
Pursuant to
On your desk.
MCL 15.268, Section 8H of the Open Meetings Act.
Support for the motion that was made.
Thank you. All right.
Your roll call.
Do you want to explain to the
Vote on this, or what are we doing?
to go into closed session?
Yes.
Mayor Milan,
Yes?
Mayor Pro Tem Moffett,
Yes.
Councilmember Shepherd,
Yes.
Councilmember Anderson,
Yes.
Councilmember Binkowski.
Yes?
Okay, we'll be going into closed session, and we will return here. You're welcome to stay. You're welcome to stay online. We will come back and close our meeting. Thank you very much. As you can see, we have returned from our closed session. Here we are.
Make a motion to return back to,
No, just the motion to direct the city attorney.
I'm sorry, the motion, yes, I'm sorry. Madam Mayor, I move that we authorize city attorney to pursue legal action as outlined in the closed session.
Support.
Roll call, please, Michelle.
Councilmember Shepherd?
Yes.
Councilmember Anderson?
Yes.
Councilmember Binkowski?
Yes.
Mayor Milan?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Moffett?
Yes.
Thank you. We've just instructed our city attorney to act on this matter, and if we have no other business, I will entertain a motion to dismiss.
I move we adjourn.
Support.
Roll call, please, Michelle.
Councilmember Anderson?
Yes.
Councilmember Binkowski?
Yes.
Mayor Milan?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Moffett?
Yes.
Councilmember Shepherd?
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful evening.